Hello, my name is Karen Alejandra Torres Montoya. Mm, I am a student of the program Licenciatura en Lenguas Extranjeras con énfasis en inglés. What was the conception of material development decades ago? Considering what was stated in the journal ILT Materials. The key to fostering effective teaching and learning settings by Astrid Núñez Pardo and María Fernanda Telles. We can say that the answer to the previous question is for many decades. Materials development was simply the production that accompanied with training of learning. Resources to illustrate methods. However, things have started to change due to the awareness of the teacher of thought on two issues. First, the enormous production in the interest of the methodologies and material used for teaching, and second, the importance of including student voices to update teaching material in terms of how students would like to learn and what they need to learn in today's increasingly globalized world. B. B. What does developing materials demand from teachers if at least six demands and explain them? Considering what was stated in the journal ILT Materials, the key to fostering effective teaching and learning settings by Astrid Muñoz Pardo and María Fernanda Telles. We can say that the answer to the previous question is these are the demands. Number one, recognizing that students learn at speeds and are successful in different ways. Teachers must consider this diversity when teaching the target language and when developing their materials while trying to maintain a balance between needs, preferences, motivations, and language learning needs of students, expectations, their emotional needs, and institutional policies. Number two, teachers should also consider that since knowledge is so highly constructed, promoting learning activities in pairs and in groups is a must, since they enhance motivation, improve self-esteem in students, and reduce anxiety and prejudice. Number 3. Tosta 2001 and Small 1997 state that an essential element of success in an English as a foreign language class is the possibility that the class is an opportunity to learn and that students find learning entertaining. For this reason, teachers must create materials that promote enjoyable learning environments, thereby fostering motivation, interaction, and long-term learning. Number 4, in addition, language learning materials are a key factor in creating effective teaching and learning environments. Following Tomlinson, 1998, these materials could be considered effective if they facilitate the learning of a language by increasing students' knowledge, experience, and understanding, and at the same time helping students to learn what they want and need to learn. Number 5. Furthermore, the effectiveness of the material used for language teaching depends to a large extent on their meaning, relevance, and motivation for students. The strict conditions are fulfilled when there is a correspondence between the materials and the tasks proposed in them, with the needs, interests, attitudes, and expectations of the learners. In other words, teachers must do their best to develop the most effective, appropriate, and flexible materials for the students and their programs. Number 6. Material development requires designers to be reflective, resourceful, and responsive elegant regarding their teaching practice, as well as being more willing to take risks and make decisions related to the way they run classes, and be less willing to single out what should not have been done, as well as being attentive to compliment and praise their students' attempts to perform tasks in a different way, as there are not necessarily wrong ways of doing things, but different ways of doing things do them. C. What are the components of creating and adapting didactic learning materials? The components are 7. Number 1, needs assessment. A central ingredient for the development of material is the use of systematized needs assessment procedures because it involves a set of aspects that determines the decision making of teachers that will most likely help both students and teachers to achieve teaching environment and meaningful and effective learning. Number 2, establishment of goals and objectives. Another significant aspect that needs to be addressed when developing materials is setting learning goals and objectives. The horizon to focus on the English as a foreign language, the rule should be clearly established with the aim of meeting the needs and expectations of students through the development and implementation of learning materials. Number 3, conceptualize the content, design a study program. This third component encompasses the incorporation of aspects of language and language learning development procedures that are vital to the progress of the course. While the definition of a syllabus seems simple enough, its design requires a precise understanding of the teaching and learning process. Number 4. Selection and development of materials and activities. Selecting materials and activities for our students is not a fortuitous decision, it's one that encompasses effective and timely decision making for your benefit. Number 5. Organization of contents, activities in materials development. Both content and activities could be structured in three different ways known as construction, recycling, and second and matrix approaches. The former gradually moves from the simplest to the most complex activities, from general to specific, and from construct to abstract. Number 6. Evaluation. As is well known, assessment is an ongoing process and therefore must be carried out during ongoing lessons. This suggests that any moment is opportune for the teacher to check what the students have understood and how much they have been able to apply. Number 7. Resources and limitations. Teachers must be resourceful and then adapt to the tangible or intangible that shortcomings of their teaching switch on to the extent that it allows the tone have a realistic meaning to all the process involved in developing materials. D. In your opinion, what is the principal role of the teacher when designing language learning materials? Be creative when planning classes, when understanding how our students receive the didactic material. Be very creative when teaching language, including culture and idioms, and thus choosing the appropriate materials for the learning of the second language being acquired. Thank you.